What we need to realize is that we'll never be perfect, you know? I will never be perfect.
What's up, YouTube? This is the TheZotRider, and this is the bike I ride. Well, so you probably created an image in your mind of what my face looks like, and now that image is kind of crushed, or maybe it's sort of satisfied? I don't know. But yeah, this is my face. You may or may not be seeing my face more often. Hopefully this doesn't crush your dreams of what I look like. Some of my reasoning behind doing a face reveal is the convenience, because it's kind of hard to interact with people if you can't really show them your face. It's easy when you're doing motovlogging because you just have the camera on the helmet and you don't ever have to like really show your face. But for like instructional videos on the bike and for storytelling, in certain situations it might be better to have my face where I don't have to hide it. So that's why I've decided to just kind of put this out there. But yeah, another thing, the channel reached 504 subscribers, I think. So that's a big milestone for me. I really appreciate all the subscriptions, all the subscribers, all the comments. That's one of the things I noticed, that you guys are really interactive in the comments. Definitely on the dropping video. A lot of support. And I haven't been consistent on my videos, but still trying to work toward that.
Do or do not. There is no try.
But yes, so you probably couldn't tell. You probably couldn't tell from the bike or from me, but actually this past October 15th, I was in an accident, a motorcycle accident on this motorcycle. I should start off with saying that unfortunately, the camera cut off a minute before the crash. And that kills me so much because I would have loved to watch myself flip and post that on YouTube and share it with you guys. So back to the story, back to the actual day of the crash. So I went up to Highway 39 and I was kind of just like trying to get through the curves as fast as possible and just like, I don't know, I just had the urge to go fast, and I'm telling you this story just to kind of like, just to kind of explain everything and hopefully give some insight. And the way I was going at it, I was kind of throwing myself into turns and seeing if I could handle them, which was not the way you should be riding at all. Initially I was doing fine on the straightaways and on the longer curves, on the curves that you could actually see through, I was doing fine. However, when it came to a blind right-hand corner, that's where everything kind of went to crap. So essentially, I'm riding along and I come up to a right-hand turn on a blind corner, and on the left side is a cliff. Oh, like an embankment, like where it goes down. So, essentially I'm going about 40 miles an hour in about 4th gear. So I'm in the wrong gear. I should actually have downshifted. I did not downshift. Instead, I basically grabbed in the front brake ever so slightly, and I think I might have grabbed the clutch in, I don't quite remember. Which if I grabbed the clutch in, that would be dumb, because then you lose all your engine braking. But regardless, I know for a fact I pulled in the front brake. Not a quick jerk, because I didn't slide out. I didn't lock up the front brake and slide out. Instead, I did a stoppie, okay? Which basically, that's when you're riding on the front wheel of this bike, okay? I remember vividly sitting on the bike and had the rear end up in the air, and I was looking down at the ground, and I was still going probably 20 or 30 miles an hour. I might have been going 40. I don't honestly quite remember the speed, but it definitely was 40 or less, which is still fast. But I'm looking down at the ground, and all of a sudden the bike, I don't know if I feel like the bike threw me off. So one, either the front tire wobbled and threw me off, or two, the bike just reached the tipping point and fell off. But regardless, I fell onto the ground, like straight first, and the bike ended up landing on me, and I remember tumbling about 2 or 3 times. And it wasn't rolling in the sense of like spinning, it was tumbling like somersaults, head over heels. And I remember coming to a stop on my back, laying on my back, and I had an incredible pain on my right side, which I'll include some photos of that. My prediction, if you look at the bike, the only major damage I noticed was that my rear brake on the right side was bent, or my rear brake pedal was bent. So I assume that the bike tumbled and actually hit me in the side, and I bent the rear brake with my side. I ended up getting a really big hematoma. This is kind of all over the place. I ended up getting a really big hematoma from that, but I'll explain more about that. So there I am laying on the ground, on my back, grabbing my side, thinking that I broke something. I should have pointed out that I was wearing full gear. I was wearing my helmet, boots, gloves, leather gloves I should say, leather gloves, leather jacket, leather pants, with knee sliders and back protector, everything, okay? So I was fully in full leather, okay? Continuing on, I'm laying on the ground, on my back, in the middle of the road. I hear my bike still running. My bike is now on its side. I'm still on the right side of traffic. My bike is on the wrong side of traffic, in the gravel, or on the edge of the road, on its side, still running. And it just so happened that right when I crashed, about 8 to 10 motorcyclists were coming down at the exact same time. And from their reports, my bike actually went past them and it almost hit a Ducati. There was a guy riding a Ducati Panigale, so that bike was maybe worth like 3 times as much as my bike. And my bike just went barreling across the road, and the guy had to swerve around it. But regardless, they were really nice and they stopped for me, redirected traffic. They had me lay in the road, and one of the guys had some medical knowledge. I think he might have been an EMT. So he unzipped my jacket, unzipped this jacket that I was wearing in the crash, and he checked me. He said that I had a contusion on my right side, which is essentially like a bruise or a impact point, and my right arm hurt pretty bad. Regardless, they checked me out, checked all my reflexes. I was good, and they ended up having me sit up and then stand up. And my bike was completely fine. I walked over to it, but here's what happened when I walked over to my bike. And I remember having my hands on the gas tank, and my vision started going really bright and what do you call it? Really bright and like almost grayscale. And that's a prime symptom of a concussion. So at that point, I already knew I had a concussion just from having that. But that went away after about a minute, and I ended up riding the bike home, down out of the mountain. That group of bikers, the motorcyclists, actually followed me out of the mountains and made sure that I got safe to the gas station. So if you guys are watching this, thank you very much for that. That was a dear spot in my heart for you guys. I was in a bad position. You guys helped me pick up my bike. But regardless, I got to the gas station and I called my parents and told them that what happened. And they were worried, but they handled it very well, considering that their son crashed in the mountains. They had no knowledge of my condition, other than I think I remembered calling them on the phone and telling them I think I broke my arm and that my side hurt really bad. And that I felt like my spine was messed up because I had like a pain in my lower back. Continuing on, in my concussed state, I didn't know, I remember coming down the mountain feeling really confused on where I was. Like I couldn't remember exactly what part of the mountain I was at, so it was really good that I had people around me. And I went to the gas station. I completely forgot to get gas. I had like no gas when I went up the mountain. So I was pretty much on empty going out. Regardless, I got on the freeway and started riding along, and then all of a sudden the bike starts having problems, and I'm like, oh, why is the throttle not responding? And I had to pull to the side of the freeway, ran out of gas, okay? Ran out of gas, and I ended up having to pull off the freeway, park the bike, and I was like, what am I gonna do? Here I am on the side of the road, and I knew there was a gas station. I looked at my phone and I knew there was a gas station over the hill, which was about like half a mile. And in my concussed state, I was like, hey, I need to go get gas. So here I am. I remember walking. I was walking probably like about this fast, and I was holding my side, and I was like, okay. So just picture that. Picture me in full gear, with my helmet on, just walking up a hill, grumbling, okay, groaning. And there wasn't even a sidewalk, okay? I just remember it was there's like a dirt path on the side of the road with a bunch of bushes, and I was walking through that. Eventually, I almost made it to the top of the hill. I made it to the top of the hill, and I still had like another quarter mile to go. But a car actually stopped, a guy in a truck actually stopped, and he helped me. He drove me to the gas station. I ended up going in there and buying a thing of water, like a gallon of water. And I rushed outside and drank a little bit. You're not supposed to with the concussion, but I did. And then I dumped the water out into the bushes, and then I filled that jug, 1 gallon jug with gas. And then he drove me back. So thank you to that guy. I can't remember your name, unfortunately. But thank you so much if you ever get to see this video. Helped me again in a really tough time. But regardless, put gas in the motorcycle and drove all the way home down the 605 freeway, 605 south, back from Highway 39. Then I got into a car and was driven to the hospital. I went to the hospital and they immediately got me in there. They checked me out. I have some pictures from the hospital, so I might include those. I have some pictures of my x-rays. I remember during getting x-rays, I was standing there, and you have to go like this and hold your arms up, and like, I remember doing that, and I felt really, really cold, but at the same time I was sweating really bad. They thought my shoulder was broken, I thought my shoulder was broken, my arm was broken, so they took x-rays, turned out nothing was broken. Took a chest x-ray, turned out nothing was broken as well. So I got really, overall, the biggest thing to take away from this is that I got really lucky considering how stupid I was riding. And not everyone is gonna be that lucky. So you have to be aware of when you're riding stupid. I have to be aware of when I'm riding stupid. Because I probably won't get a second chance of riding like that and getting away with as little as I did. Okay, I just want to end this by saying thank you so much for watching and for listening to my extensive story. Okay, if you're ever in an accident and you have a concussion, this is a story just to, a short little story, so that you don't feel like you're alone, okay? So, I was in, after the accident, I got 2 Norcos, which are like painkillers, and I started feeling really, really hungry. So I wanted to go get food, and I went with my parents. After I got released from the hospital, I went to In-N-Out. And I remember standing in line, and I was thinking to myself, wow, there's a lot of people in here. Wow, I feel really hot. Oh, I'm feeling kind of nauseous. I'm feeling pretty nauseous. And I was just like, okay, order me a number 2. And I immediately walked outside and threw up in the parking lot. That was because of the concussion. Or it could have been from the Norcos. But regardless, I ended up throwing up in the parking lot with someone in a car eating their food right there. The whole family eating food, and me just throwing up in the parking lot. Anyway, just think of that anytime you go to In-N-Out or ride a motorcycle.